Are you ready to scale yourself and your business while traveling everywhere else in the world? This is the Scale You podcast, and in season 2, we're focused on the life of being a digital nomad. In the guests that we have for this season, I have interviewed business owners, community creators, and even people who are thriving in their freelance journey on how they've been able to do it while traveling anywhere in the world. We're going to talk about how to start a career working anywhere and even sprouting into a business, and the different kinds of lifestyles that one can have as a digital nomad. So if you are ready to ditch the grind, get ready to scale you. Our guest today is Ambroise Debret, and he is a seasoned digital nomad and remote work expert who transformed his life by freelancing and traveling all over the world. He's now dedicated to working with freelancers and remote workers to thrive. With over a decade of experience, Ambroise has helped more than 800 individuals break free from the traditional work model, build fulfilling careers, and achieve personal freedom. Okay, everyone, so please help me welcome our guest for today, Ambroise. Hey, Ambroise.
Hey, Leanne, how are you?
I'm good. How are you in Chiang Mai right now?
Well, I'm good. It's rainy season, but still good mood.
Got it. It's the same here in the Philippines. We're kind of in the same side of the world-ish, where it's about the same of the rainy and sunny seasons. So as I've kind of introduced you to people, and you've kind of been, I remember when I was researching you a little bit, because I was researching all of the speakers, you were one of the people who you really built a community around you. I was joking right before we started that because you have this really big Google Maps list where you update it for the cool places that you see. I've been following you non-stalkerish because it is a legit notification, but at the same time, it's really cool seeing you travel around the world. But of course, we want to start with, who were you before you started becoming a digital nomad?
So I like to say I was kind of born a nomad. You know, I'm French, but I was born in Germany because my parents worked there at the time. Then we moved to the UK, then France, all around. And then when I was 18, I just decided to leave to study in Canada. And since then, I haven't stopped. I also even became Canadian. So I like to say I was born a nomad, but you know, I had like a classic life before. So I was a student. I had like a classic job for a year and a half. And I was following the normal path until basically the turning point was like in 2012 when the entrepreneurship teacher brought the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, in class.
Ooh.
I read it and then I was done. I had to become a nomad.
That was then the lifestyle. It's funny because that book, especially for me, since I have a virtual assistant agency, that book's been referenced so many times where someone would say, I saw this one chapter where they mentioned, this nomad life and a virtual assistant, so then they wanted to work with us. So I love that book's, it's I think almost 2 decades now, right? It's a really old book at this point, but it's still being referenced all over. So tell me more about that transition then of you kind of, so how many citizenships do you have? That's my first kind of curiosity question.
Two. That's
2. Okay, that's cool because then you can basically use whichever passport lets you into the country. Tell me about that transition then. What was you cut the nomad bug? You were basically born a nomad, but what was that transition like to doing it more full time? And also talk about the kind of the businesses and the career that led you to be more location freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when I discovered the book and digital nomadism, I was a student. So at first I was a student, and soon after I had many ideas I wanted to try out. So in the book they talk a lot about e-commerce and drop shipping. So I tried that. Didn't work. Pretty soon after I read the book, I tried freelancing, and I got a few gigs and I got started this way. But I tried basically everything you could try, in terms of remote, online business, affiliate, and everything. And so while I was trying everything, I was still leading normal life. I did a master's degree, then I had a job, and I was doing that on the side in the weekends and stuff. And it was in 2017 basically, where I had my job. It was a good job, but on the side I was doing other projects. And I realized I was making more money per hour doing freelancing than at my job. So I was okay, let's change things around. And that's when I quit my job in 2017 in March. With a one-way ticket to Bangkok.
Ooh.
And when I became a nomad,
Got it. It's those one-way tickets that are yep, I'm doing this no matter what, I'm going to succeed.
Yeah, you have to take care of logistics. I had to sublet my apartment, buy some stuff, sell some stuff, quit my job. It's this intense period, but I think that's a good advice for people who want to become a nomad, is to have like a set date and do kind of like working backwards to your goal, which is really good because you have a lot of things to figure out before actually leaving. Yeah.
Got it. That's super cool. So then, what was the transition like to get to where you are now? Like, what was the journey to, starting a new life in Thailand to where you're now half kind of Thailand as your home, but at the same time you're traveling like crazy all over the world.
Yeah, so when I left, I didn't know where I was going to end up. So I was like one-way ticket, and it became like I think a 4-month trip all around Asia.
Ooh.
Sadly, I haven't been to the Philippines yet, but I'm gonna change that.
Very close by.
But at first, like, you're a nomad, you have like sparks in your eyes. Like, I was working, I was traveling, partying, and so all around Thailand. I went to Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia, and like, at first it was amazing, but I burned out pretty fast. Like, after a month in Thailand, I was like, trying to work, partying, visiting. So you have to take care of a lot of things, like where I'm going next, where I'm going to sleep, how I go there, and also working. And and since then, basically, so this was my starting trip. Then I went back to Canada. I was kind of like based in Canada for a while as a nomad, before like leaving again Canada, like, during COVID, and traveling a bit more. So I've been to about a little under 50 countries so far.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, so I've been a nomad for like 7 years and a half, and I decided like this year in 2024 to have like a home base, which is in Chiang Mai, because I love it here. I end up coming back here, and it's like one of those nomad hotspots. And I still travel around like 6 months per year. So, I'm here mostly for the next 6 months, but I'm going to Vietnam next month. Then I'm going to Bangkok. Then I'm going to Hong Kong, maybe the Philippines at one point. So, it's like a good base to, and also, I have my video setup, like you see. It's makes it good. Yeah.
True. And I guess I liked knowing that when, of course, like meeting a lot of amazing nomads during Bangkok Nomad Fest, the different variations of it, of like, I usually have a home base. I just travel a lot, but then it's like, we both have our studios at home where everything else is set up. We're comfortable in it, but then we know the moment we get the itch of like, I want to go here, then we can go to different places. So walk me through, and you touched on it a little bit, of kind of the challenges of essentially having a career while being a digital nomad. You mentioned I'm getting paid more freelancing versus my current job. Let me go ahead and pursue that a little bit more. But nowadays, like, what have been challenges that you went through? Like I said, you having the career and the business as well, and the community that you've built also while being a nomad.
Yeah, so I guess the first thing to become a nomad is like, how are you going to make a living online? Because plane tickets, hotels, it's all logistics. It's not that complicated. Sure, you can have some resources that help you, but how do you make a living online? That's where most people struggle, and it's the hardest part. Yeah. So, at the beginning, I was freelancing, I was doing okay. But the first thing was to have like a steady income. It was more important for me to have like a steadier income than like the amount per hour. So I focused on that, on like having as a freelancer, having like retainer clients, like, that I work with them for the long term. That was the best thing. Yeah. And then I looked more into increasing my rates, and as like, the conference I did in Bangkok, it's not about like the rate itself, it's about the value you provide to customers. And so yeah, I kept working on that until like some gigs, like I've charged over 200 euros an hour for them, some even more. And it's allowed me to launch a bunch of products. So I'm still freelancing up to now. It's been like 11 years now. Doesn't make me younger, but yeah, I've launched a lot of projects. I had a startup in the running industry in 2017, 2018. I gave classes in business schools, and since like 5-6 years, I've been focusing mainly on helping people in French becoming like digital nomads via freelancing. So it's nice because freelancing, you can activate it when you need it. Like, if I needed more money, I could freelance and then drop it down if you want to focus on some projects. And basically, that's what I teach to people right now. That's what I do most of the time. So yeah, the problem is like getting started, getting like more clients, increasing your rates, and then it's a lot of like organization, like and keeping clients for the long term. And that's what I'd say.
Got it. And I remember when I watched your talk, I remember sprinting from one part of the Bank to Nomad Fest to the other one, all the way to the other stage, and I caught like I think 70% of it. And you were talking about exactly that of like focusing on creating value. You can't
Yeah.
increase your own rates without knowing the impact and the value you're creating for someone. Hence, why you can charge that much basically within their business because you're creating that much value. What has been kind of your favorite thing about teaching other people how to be a nomad?
I mean, it's just amazing. Like if I had had this shortcut when I started, I would have become a nomad in 2013, not 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of like teaching what I've learned along the way with so many mistakes and taking like a few years. And for me, like I've always loved teaching and sharing. So I started doing that through content online, through events, and now I get to do that as my full time I would say like project. I also
Mm-hmm.
have a team help me. So for me, the best thing about it is like seeing people like start from zero, basically. Like they're employees and they don't know, like they want to travel more but they can't. They kind of like lack the freedom getting started, getting their first customers, and you see like those sparks in their eyes. They're like, okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
possible for me too. And then it's like hard work but also pleasure. And I've had a few people, like some of them were at the Nomad Fest, that like
Mm-hmm.
literally knew me as they were employees, like in a normal life. Then
Mm-hmm.
they start freelancing on the side. Then they quit their job. They travel the world. Some also like launched their projects, like agencies, e-commerce websites, SaaS businesses, online courses. So for me, it's really like the basically the best job in the world. I'm like sometimes I say I'm like a freedom's teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. No, it's even cooler, and again, I understand exactly what you mean. Of like, it's even cooler when the people that you teach is better than you. You're like, oh, I
Yeah.
helped that person along the way be who they are, even though they've gotten like I remember very first couple of like career coaching students I had on like being a nomad. They have like bigger agencies than me, and like I don't mind. Like that's cool because then it's always good to have richer friends basically that you can tap and like get even better advice from. Uh, Out of the less than under 50 countries that you've been to, which one has been your favorite other than Thailand? Because obviously you've created your roots on there. But which one has been
Yeah.
kind of your favorite that you want to keep going back to?
Mm, I mean, so I used to be based in Canada, so I went to a lot of like South American countries. I've been to
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit. And since I'm European, like Europe is like kind of like known. I know things like no matter where you are, it's a little bit the same. So I would say
Mm.
Mexico. I would say Mexico
Ooh,
as a second to Thailand. Yeah, because
got it.
it's such a huge country with so diverse like cultures, like landscape, food, people. You can have
Mm.
You have the Pacific and the Atlantic. You can dive, surf, trek. You have big cities,
Ooh.
so much food.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just great. And a lot of nomads also go through Mexico. Like I've been a few times to Mexico, but I spent like 5 months in
Ooh,
2021 when it was COVID,
wow. Mm-hmm.
because it was one of the only countries in the world that was open at that time. It
Yep.
was a bit of a
Yep.
struggle to go there from France at the time, but yeah, Mexico is amazing.
I've heard from a lot of other people before, and I've put Mexico kind of one of the next places that I do want to go and try to visit.
Yeah,
Other than I know a mentor of mine who lives there basically, mostly because then she can surf and chill. But then if there's like major conferences in the U.S., she can easily just fly there. I'm like, that is
yeah.
actually really smart way to kind of keep growing your business. So that makes a lot of sense. As you've kind of gone through this, you've been doing this for a while. You mentioned, did you say that you started 2017 or 2012 on
I
the whole
started
work?
freelancing on 2013,
Mhm.
and I became a nomad in 2017.
Got it. So basically, in the 7 years that you've been doing this so far, what has kind of been like if you can go back and talk to 2017 Ambrose, what would be kind of a piece of advice that you would give to him as he's getting started on the digital nomad journey?
Yeah, so lessons I learned the hard way. I think the first one I touched about is like when a month after starting, I kind of got like a travel burnout. So like to be a nomad in the long way is to stay, like to be kind of a slow nomad, to stay at least, I would say at least 1 month per place. Ideally, rather 2 months. for many reasons. First, you have like you can really like discover a place, like form routines and stuff. It takes about a week when you get somewhere that you don't know to, okay, I can eat here, I can work here, how it works. Yeah, and the last week is kind of rushed too, because you want to say bye to all the friends you met all the way, and prepare for the next trip. But also, like, having a longer term allows you to have like monthly rent, basically pay apartments monthly, which is kind of like more the expat price and not the tourist price. Basically, you want to get away from the tourist price, because you're not a tourist at this point. You can also have like better deals at the co-workings, at the gyms and everything. It just makes the experience all around better. So yeah, stay longer per place. That's the main one. And also I see people like and I've enjoyed doing that, but I see people like going nomading in places where there are no nomads. Like, and it's happened to me a few times. Like, you go somewhere, it looks amazing and stuff, but there are like no nomads. And when are no nomads, maybe the work conditions aren't so great, like the internet, or there aren't many places to work from. And also you're gonna feel like alone pretty fast. Like, imagine like you're at the most beautiful beach in the world, okay, but there is no one and no internet and nothing. One lesson is also like, people are more important than the destinations. Mm-hmm. Like, destinations, you can be the best place in the world. If you're alone, then you don't have anybody to share it with. Mm-hmm. And also, like, something I realized that we kind of know by default in the normal way of life, but like, what you remember is not the day-to-day. Even if the day-to-day is perfect, you're in Bali, driving a scooter, going to nice cafes and stuff, what you remember most is like experiences with other people. So mainly like the weekends I've done with friends, like around places. Like, sometimes, like one time we were in 𝐿𝐴𝐴, amazing like resort. We each had our bungalow on the beach and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was amazing. But what I remember most was the weekend we took to 𝐿𝐴𝐴, the island next to it. So because we chartered a private boat to go around, we did some stuff. You also remember like the experiences you did, like some diving I've done, things like that. And also, like, for me, it's been like the travels with like family that come to visit. So I've had my parents that they came in Thailand 2 years ago. My mom came when I was in Portugal. My sister visited me in Bali. We're gonna meet in Hong Kong in a few months. So it's that kind of moments, like, create those moments, and yeah, that's what you remember.
Got it. That's such a really good point that a lot of people do forget. It's like it's not the really beautiful places that you go to that are really actually beautiful, but it's then kind of the people that you surround yourself with. Like, my favorite memories of 𝐿𝐴𝐴 was like partying with you guys, like going on random trips with people, doing some of the mini groups together. That was really fun. So that's a really, really good point. So then as you're growing essentially more and more of the nomad community in French, you're helping a lot of people also get into this world of where you can work anywhere, balance a little bit of finding a good way of like, hey, maybe I'm staying in this place for a month or two just so I don't get that burnout. What's kind of I like asking this question a lot on the 𝐶𝐶𝐿 podcast of like, what would the world look like if, let's say that there was a second Ambroise? Let's say we perfected cloning, a third Ambroise, an RB Ambroses. What would be the value that you want to create in the world if you had an army of yous where you can basically create any change that you want?
Honestly, I think I would do more of the same. I have like I was working on my 10-year vision recently, and like this is just the beginning. Like, I have software ideas, event ideas, so a lot of things to do. And I mean, I've already like I have a great team, so I kind of like already cloned myself. Like, but yeah, that's what I would say. Like, do more of the same, basically. And so far we've helped over like 800 people in our journey, and it's growing. Like, on our Facebook group, we have like over 18K people in French, like French nomads. So everything is growing, and I just want to have the biggest impact on that, because for me, like the what we do helps people like have goals, be happy, achieve their dreams, and that's the best thing we can do. And no matter if you do that through like, no matter your business, if you do that, I think you're aligned with it. You help, and then you can have a deep impact. I don't want to make like a TikTok videos that go viral, but that don't really have a deep impact. It's like about the volume and the quality of what we help people with.
That's beautiful and that's wonderful. And I am here to support you, watching your content, sharing it with people when they need it. So
Learning
how
French.
yes. Whenever I see it, I honestly, what I do is I take a screenshot of your stories and I ask ChatGPT to translate it. That's what I've been doing. It's like, oh, what is ever, or like screenshot uploaded to ChatGPT. Can you translate this? And it ChatGPT does. So I'm learning slowly with your story. So how can people find you? How people get to know you? What platforms should they focus on so they can follow you through your journey?
Yes, so most of what I do is in French. So I think the most relevant places would be Instagram. Instagram is my name, basically Ambroise Debret, Ambroise Debret in English. So I post like daily stories of my like travels, and on Instagram you can click on translate as well directly, so you can have that. But I think maybe what would be most help, and I could provide you with like a special link, is like I have this Google Maps of now I'm close to 1,300 places around the world, like the best cafes, accommodation, restaurants for nomads. So I could share that link with you to share to people. That's, I think, the best way. And the next best thing to do is to learn French.
So you can follow the journey a little bit better. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
There is already so many things to do in French. I've had this idea in the back of my head to have like to duplicate my business in other languages. And like the conference in Bansko was in English. I speak English, I speak German, I speak Spanish. But I mean, there is already so much to do in French. So yeah.
True. Well, as I joked, like I am on that list of the Google Maps list of like updating, like, oh, Ambrose is in that country right now. Okay, cool. And I get it all.
You can follow me around.
Yeah. So I will make sure to put all those links below so that people can follow and get to know you, and also just see your journey and get inspired by it. Well, thank you so much, Ambrose, for your time today. And I hope at least 1 or 2 or 10 people get inspired by listening or watching this video.
100, I hope. Thank you, Leanne. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ambrose. Again, all of Ambrose's links is going to be linked below, so make sure to check him out. Now, of course, if you guys like this episode, if you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere else where there is a like button, make sure to hit that thumbs up button right there. Comment below if you are in a place where you can comment, whether in YouTube or anywhere else that you're listening to this, just so we can know what you guys think of these episodes so far. I have been having fun getting to know a lot of these digital nomads, and again, seeing the different types of lifestyle that there is. It's not just the one or the other. You can create it to fit you. Now, as always, remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.